Welcome to the commentary booth, where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play by play commentator, Jamie Apps, and each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a DJ who has kept his favourite movie as Superbad, but he's changed his favourite TV show. It's now back to Seinfeld since it's hit Netflix. Welcome to the show, Jaxon Carr.
It is back. Thanks for finally building this. It took me a long time to do it, a few weeks, but I did it, and it's the most rewarding thing I think I've ever done. I think Lego's my second favorite thing to do at the moment. I need to buy more. It's wonderful.
Jeanette, just put it back in the screen and just a bit higher. We couldn't quite see it.
Oh,
yep, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
You see it?
Yep.
Even some of the minor details and stuff in it is actually ridiculous. I can't get over how good it is.
That's awesome. How long did that take to build?
I started building it one night. I started having some drinks, so I gave up, and then I just slowly
got a bit complicated.
Yeah, you know what I'm like. And then I just slowly worked over it over a week. Just had a break from work and did a little bit, and just did a bag each, and then now it literally sits on my work desk. So it's really good. I even noticed the other day that the characters, their faces, I don't know if you can see, but you can turn it around, so they've got two different expressions. And I also got drunk and stepped on Elaine, so she only has one hand. Sorry.
Whoops. Are you back in the office yet, or are you still just working from home? Is that?
No, we're back in the office on the 26th for 2 days a week, which will be all right. And now the new what's his face announced you don't have to wear masks in the office, which I'm very happy about, because I didn't really want to wear a mask for 8 hours. But anyone that's fully vaxxed is in for 2 days a week. So yeah.
Nice. Are you going to take the Lego and set it up on the work office desk, or are you going to?
I might take this, which is the Jerry's stand, stand-up thing. But
okay, that's cool.
I don't know. Or I might take one of my toy cars. I've got heaps for my vlogs, so big kid me,
Are you still doing the vlogs, or is it just doing the Friday positivity posts now?
No, I still do the vlogs, but I stopped putting them on Instagram just because I'm trying to get more followers on TikTok, and I think the more I put it on Instagram, the more it took away from TikTok. So,
yep.
But yeah, on Fridays I do positive posts for everyone in lockdown. I'm actually going to do a post later today saying how much running has changed my life, because I've now managed to run 610 kilometers since the start of lockdown. Lost 14 kilograms. I caught up with my friend yesterday. She's like, "You look quite skinny," because she hadn't seen me since before lockdown. So I just feel like a new man, really. Just really, wonderful. The best cardio is the best in the world. I can just help me mentally and physically. So yeah.
That's so far.
I did 25 kilometers on Friday.
Kilometers take you?
Oh, I don't know, but if you break it down, I'll pull up my Strava. If you break it down, I saw a funny Batuta article yesterday. It's lawyers' favorite social media application is Strava. I'm not a lawyer, but it is my favorite activity. Yeah, so I've done 612 kilometers since the start of July, which is 51 hours. And I've done, funnily enough, 69 runs.
Good. That's good. Good number.
Yeah.
Maybe stop running now. Just stop running.
Yeah, I was going to run this morning, but I drunk last night, so so it's good. I'm 69. I'm done. Quick. No more running. No more Strava running.
No more running. Just running. They just don't get recorded anymore.
Yeah, perfect. I actually did that for a week. I didn't record on Strava because I was at my parents' house. I didn't want to deal with because I got an extension go up, but I didn't want to deal with people reporting it or whatever. So yeah. I know what it's like to run without Strava, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm trying to think where 600 kilometers. That'd probably get you to what, Brisbane or Melbourne? You could have ran. Although you can't get across those borders. So.
What is 610 kilometers from me? I'm just googling it. Google Maps. 600 kilometers from. Where could I go to? Oh, this. Okay, 500 kilometers from Sydney within hours. I found this website. Lakes Entrance, Falls Creek, Mount Hotham, Albury, Wodonga.
Okay, so yeah, to the border, basically.
I could run to Thredbo and still have 100 kilometers spare. Wow.
That's crazy.
Biggest pisshead I know as a runner now.
Does that make you feel weird that you've ran that far now?
No, it makes me feel good actually. Like looking back on it, like I was running yesterday morning and I had like a slight tears, reminiscing like how far I've come and how good I feel. And like now I think like I only drink Friday and Sunday, and then I have to run 5 times before I drink. So like, you know, I used to fucking drink like 6 days a week. Now it's just weekends, and yeah, I honestly feel like I'm so mentally good. I finally have this balance I wanted for my whole life of running and drinking. So, and I'm actually signed up to a marathon in Canberra in April. So that's going to be fun.
That's a big call, that one.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
And I saw the bookings are coming back now. That must be exciting as well.
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of gigs in Bathurst because my friend owns venues down there and he wants to see me. And then Taylor's has started booking me again. I was talking to my friend Max on the phone, and I was getting all these gigs and I just wasn't paying attention to me. He's like, Jaxon, I gotta go. You're not paying attention to me. And I just hung up. And yeah, so Taylor's next Friday. I'm playing the first set there since lockdown's over, and then the following week. I don't know about Taylor's because it's open rooftop, so I don't know if people can dance or not, but I'll find out in 5 days.
That first set post lockdown, I think, will probably be a pretty special one for a lot of people. So that's a good spot to get.
I actually have people coming to watch me play that never come to watch me play. Like I've got to a point now where I don't expect people to come out, and my friend's like, "I'm coming," and I'm booked a table. And someone else is like, "I'm coming, booked a table." I'm like, "Oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome." So, yeah,
that's awesome. And then in that meantime, since in between your extensive running, we watched another great movie on Disney Plus.
Oh, bro, you honestly. I wanted to watch this movie for so long, and then you just go, it's on Disney Plus now, watch it, and then friendly greeting, friendly gesture, like, so good.
Insert.
Like, I don't even like gaming, and it's great.
Yep. Like we've got insert a quote here or catchphrase here or something. So Ryan Reynolds' new one, the 2020 movie Free Guy, which, yeah, like you said, we've been waiting so long for this movie. Like, it was initially delayed a full year because it was meant to come out, and then COVID hit the first wave. So then we were like, okay, they've pushed that back. They kept pushing it back a few times. It ended up being a full year, and then once the US opened back up, they put it out. Here in New South Wales, we still couldn't go and see it. It was still just locked away. No cinemas were open. And then now they've finally, until tomorrow. That's exciting. And then I think they call it Disney Plus Day or something. It's like the anniversary day, and they just put out a bunch of stuff. And Free Guy was on there, not even Premiere Access. It was just included with a subscription, and I watched it pretty much right away.
Yeah, I was dying. I watched it like during the week. I had a break between Squid Game, and I watched it, and then. I watched with my roommate, and my you know me, I love my mum. My mum watched it as well the next day, and she loved it. She couldn't understand the whole gaming concept. Like, she had to call me and ask me questions, being like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Mum, I don't really know. Like, I know a lot of pop culture, but gaming is out of my realm." But it was just so funny, and seeing Taika as a bad guy, he just played that character so well of like tech entrepreneur. I see this guy that runs Finder on TikTok, and he's like says like bro, and he's like this big kid, and he's just all the characters were perfect, and then the ending, the little at the end, like it was cool. It was great movie, absolutely loved it. That's 2 good Disney Plus movies we've watched in a row.
Yeah, and 2 good comedies. Like, this is another one where I was like, oh, they could have blown all the good bits on the trailers, but I don't think they did. I think there was enough there that still made it sort of surprising and funny at the same time. And it's another one with a comedian that I really hadn't heard of until the last 2 movies, Lil Rel Howery, and he's awesome as What's his name in this one? Buddy?
Oh, is he the bloke? The
The security
guy.
guard. Guy's friend.
Oh, the security guard. Yeah, okay, yeah. He was wonderful. Like, I love also the guy that couldn't put his hands down. He's like, oh, I can, but it just feels weird.
Yeah. Yeah, the hostage guy or whatever he's called. I think his
Yeah.
name was. So, yeah. Like we said, it's a comedy, but it's kind of like sci-fi as well, and it's all about uh, Ryan Reynolds' character, he comes to learn that he's actually an NPC in this MMO RPG game that's sort of very like Grand Theft Auto inspired, I think, and Sims inspired type thing. And his name is Guy, just because, yeah, I guess NPCs just have very generic names. And once he sort of finds out that, hey, you're an NPC in a video game, you're not actually real, he sets about on this journey to level up his character after he puts on the sunglasses and becomes one of the sunglass people. And sets out on this journey, starts to build up his character's level and ends up sort of developing into like sentient AI basically. And he just teams up with a player of the game to try and prevent all of the other NPCs being deleted when they transition to Free City, the game Free City 2. And yeah, like I said, it was very reminiscent of sort of the Truman Show, lots of GTA and Sims, The Matrix, um, tons of like gaming references in there as well. Where there was
Like even
Fortnite.
streamers in there, like Ninja, like that. I'm pretty sure I didn't know any of those streamers, but there was like massive streamers in it as well, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
actually knew a few of those. So there was Jacksepticeye, who was the one of them. Ninja,
Say Jax.
Jacksepticeye.
Oh, I was going to say it's my rival.
Yeah. So then there was Ninja, Pokimane, she's huge.
She's hot.
Dan TDM, and the Aussie Laser Beam. So like, it was a cool way of like incorporating them and like getting that gaming culture in a different way. And I guess it probably helped them like promote the movie as well, because I imagine those guys were all pushing it out pretty hard once it hit as well.
Yeah, like Ninja popped up on my TikTok the other day, and I don't follow him, but he has like 7 or 8 million followers. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, even if he does one video and he might get 1 million views, that's 1 million people watching a little clip on their phone. And rather than like it popping up on like your YouTube and you see a trailer and you don't want to watch it, you're watching a creator you like promote a movie about a culture that you like. It's just so smart putting that in. Like, it's ridiculous. And I didn't come up with this, but obviously my mum came up with this. She was like, "Do you reckon this is how video games are going to go in the future, where they just control themselves and people are going to watch it?" And I was like, "That's a good point. Like, probably foreseeing what could happen with AI in the future." So,
Yeah, like, and like even now, like we're seeing on Twitch, there's some games where like people when they're streaming, they have like they call it like I think it's Twitch Plays or something. So it's like I think the main one I've seen is like Pokemon. So if someone's playing Pokemon, they can set it up where people in the chat can like send messages and things, and then that like controls elements of the game. So if you're in a battle, your actual chat can like control what you do in the battle and stuff.
oh, that's something I've never got into, watching people play computer games, or also gaming myself. Like, I'll buy an Xbox game and play it for like a day or two and get over it. But it's just this whole world with like esports, people make millionaires, Ninja, all these other people. They're like, oh, maybe I was wasting my time playing Counter Strike when I was younger. I should have focused on something else. Yeah.
Some of the Counter Strike players are huge now, especially like now
Like, there's
there's
still
the
Counter Strike.
esports. Yeah, there's esports leagues that are like purely Counter Strike players, professional level,
Oh,
because
I
it's
mean,
super.
what have I been doing my whole life?
Because Counter Strike is like that super technical and strategic game. They actually play it at a professional level.
Yeah, I was always bad at it, so that makes sense. It's strategic and technical. I just went in with like an AK-47 and just went. and
just went the Halo
kills
style,
everyone.
just run in, hope for the best.
I remember like going to internet cafes in Bonner Junction and like paying for like 3 hours and being like, I can't believe I was on the internet for 3 hours. And now I'm like, if I'm awake, I can't believe I'm not on the internet for 3 hours. Like my whole life's on my phone or like, it's amazing. Reminiscing. Wow.
Yeah, so and like some of the other, there's tons of like cameos as well, and obviously the gaming references. So we had what cameos did we have? The Twitch streamers, Chris Evans is in there as well. Apparently, the only reason he's in this movie is because he was also filming in Boston at the time, and Ryan Reynolds reached out to him, was like, "Hey, do you want to come on the set and do something for this movie?" And Chris Evans said, "I can do it, but I can only be there for 10 minutes." So they set everything up, had it ready to go. As soon as he got there, filmed his little bit, and then he was out in 7 minutes.
Perfect.
And then we also get Alex Trebek is in there, Tina Fey, The Rock is in there as one of them.
What?
Yeah, The Rock.
Don't watch this movie.
They're all like not. I think they just do the voices and stuff. Like they're not actually like filmed. Hugh Jackman's in there. He's the guy that she encounters in the alleyway. John Krasinski. It's crazy. And then in terms of the gaming, yeah, like I picked up on a couple of them. Like I picked up on Hugh Jackman's voice. I picked up on Alex Trebek, obviously, and The Rock. I still can't remember where he was. I have to go back and rewatch it just to try and listen to all the voices and stuff. I think The Rock's in the background or something. And then the gaming references and Disney references, which is it's weird that there was tons of different Disney references because it was this movie was part of like Fox. It was originally a Fox production that began well before Disney purchased Fox. So I don't know whether they've gone back and like inserted those Disney references with pickups and stuff, or whether they were kind of already talking and this was a potential acquisition at some point. Yeah, we get Fortnite, Ready Player One, GTA, obviously, Sonic, The Sims, the Star Wars lightsaber pops up, the portal gun, Marvel. So we get Captain America's shield, and that's where Chris Evans pops in like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Minecraft, Halo. So you see the Halo tanks and stuff. Resident Evil, just ridiculously like stacked thing where you can watch it and just enjoy the storyline, but then you're also, if you're a big fan of some of these properties or gaming in general, you're going to spot little things in the background like, "Hey, I know that. Hey, I know that."
That's the thing. Besides the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff, I knew nothing of it. I just enjoyed it, and like I didn't know anything about any of those gaming references. So, as someone that I just really enjoyed it from like a non-gamer, so that was, yeah, wonderful. I'll probably need to rewatch it and look it up and be like, oh, analyze everything. So,
and I think that sort of proves how well like they've done in producing the movie too, because you don't have to be a game player or a game nerd to sort of pick up on and enjoy the movie. You can just watch it and just enjoy it for the comedy and the storyline.
Also, to be honest, if Taika released a movie of him sitting on the toilet for an hour and a half doing a massive poo, I'd watch it. Like, I absolutely love him so much. Like, Ryan Reynolds as well. Like, if he released a movie of him wearing like 20 jumpers and you can't see his face, like Deadpool, he has no face, I'd watch it. Like, just those two people, I just would do. I'm not a massive movie buff, but I would just watch anything that they're in. Like, absolutely love them both. So that casting for me, and then even the main bloke from Stranger Things was great. Like, loved him as well. He was so good, and the girl, I found her really attractive as well. So just a good cast, really.
I found it funny at the very end when the main guy, like the Stranger Things guy, when he goes and like actually talks to the girl at the coffee shop. He is wearing a blue shirt, so he becomes blue shirt guy in real life.
Did I watch this movie? You keep on. I've literally missed it all. Oh wow! I didn't really watch this.
Yeah,
do you want a free guide this afternoon? Yeah, sweet. We're gonna watch it next.
Yeah, so if you like watch the end, he's wearing a blue shirt and basically becomes blue shirt guy in the real world.
Oh wow, okay.
And I
Looking
was
forward to
looking
watching this movie for the first time.
at I was looking at some of the stats. It's like done incredibly well already. They have got in there. They've grossed $324.8 million, and it only cost them between 100 and 125 million. So they basically tripled their money. And Ryan Reynolds confirmed just a few weeks ago that Disney are happy with the outcome of this movie, so they are doing a sequel. They just don't know when it will be, but
Oh,
they want to do a sequel. Very keen
yeah.
for that.
Okay. I hope Buff. I hope Friendly Greeting is in the sequel because he was my favorite character in the whole movie. He was just one. Like the attention to detail of that character was just beautiful.
I hope they give him his catchphrase too, so he doesn't just have insert catchphrase too.
No, I like the fact he didn't have it. It's just that attention to detail was just perfect. Like, just made it even better. Like, oh yeah, great movie. And sorry for a spoiler, but that's my recommendation for the week. Everything else I'm going to talk about today, I love, but that is just you have to watch it. I'm sorry to jump in early, but yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful movie.
I was going to say something else about it too. Can't remember what I was going to say now. But yeah, like I said, it was so cool to get two cool, really good comedies back to back on Disney. Like usually, you get two comedies in a row like that. One of them will be good and one will be an absolute flop, but both of them nailed it. So stoked with Disney at the moment.
Let's hope good things happen in threes, and we get a good third one soon.
Yep, yeah, Free Guy
Whatever they
2
want to
and
release.
Honeymoon Friends. Hopefully, they can follow up
Yeah,
both of those movies with good sequels.
yeah. Oh, it's funny because we watched the Honeymoon Friends, and it's funny if you think I watched another show recently which I did not expect anything from. I actually saw some girl on like a dating app, and it was like I am passionate about blah, and I was like I looked it up, and honestly, it's this show, right? And it's set in was it Hawaii? Hawaii? And it's basically about like six different characters. Stifler's mum's in it from American Pie. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Actually, it's in my head at the moment. You know the show I'm talking about, don't you? Sorry.
White Lotus.
Yeah, White Lotus. Yeah, sorry, yeah, White Lotus. Like, I did not expect anything about the show White Lotus, and it was set in Hawaii. It's like six different characters, and they all like how they intertwine, staying at like a nice resort. And this show was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely loved it. The best guy in the whole thing was Australian. He had a moustache, so obviously I was quite drawn to him, despite certain things that he did throughout it. But yeah, White Lotus on Binge is honestly one of the funniest shows I've watched all year. Absolutely loved it, and yeah, it's just funny talking about like Vacation Friends, and then like watching that. I think I started watching like a week after I watched Vacation Friends, and I was like, oh, this is similar in a way. It's like a comedy drama. The series starts, and like this guy's at the airport, and someone's dead, and you're like,
Oh,
oh, what's going to happen? And then you just watch the show, and like he's like, oh, I've just been on my honeymoon, and someone's dead, and you're like, oh, is his missus dead or whatever? And you just watch the show, and it's just hilarious. Absolutely, 6 episodes, probably should have been more. And you know they can just keep pumping this out as well, because what they'll do is, because they're based on an island, they'll just have new six people coming in. And yeah, as I said, I saw some girl on Binge talking about it, so I was like, oh, watch it to try to fucking have something to talk to her about. Not expecting much, and then it was just a wonderful show.
so like it's obviously a comedy. But does it like when it starts off like that? Do you think, oh, this is gonna get like really serious here for a moment, and then all of a sudden it hits you with the comedy, and you're like, okay, no, it's something different.
Nah, I heard it was like a comedy drama, so it's very funny, but like it's like one of those shows where like, as I was saying, it follows different groups of people, and like you see character development, and like there's this one son who's like 16 horn dogs, like wanks all the time, and like seeing him evolve, and like you see like all this other stuff, and like, yeah, it's just like there's some really like good like one-liners, and it's good development, and like you're really drawn in because literally the first scene is they're at the Hawaii airport, and this guy is really upset, and this guy is the worst character in the whole show. I absolutely hated him, but the fact that I hated him so much was the fact he was just playing such a good role. Like, if someone's like so bad and you absolutely hate them in a show or a movie, it means they're just a great actor. So it starts, and he's sitting there, but like all like sad, and like this older couple are like, "Oh, you're right. Like, how's your vacation?" And he's like, "Oh, I stayed at White Lotus." And they're like, "Oh, someone died there." And he's like, "Yeah, it's just over there." And they start asking more questions. He's like, "Shut up!" And like basically says like it's his wife that you're expecting to be dead. So you have 6 episodes being like, "Oh, who's dead?" It's like one of those like murder mystery things, comedy, and yeah, it's just honestly, I didn't expect anything from it, but I've actually had a few shows like that lately that I didn't expect anything from it, but it's hilarious.
And how long are the episodes? Are they hour or half-hour episodes?
Nah, 40 to 50 minutes
Okay.
episodes. So yeah, it's like you can watch it in like a couple of nights. I've actually done a lot lately with a few shows, so.
Yeah, I've sort of seen a lot of people like recommending, saying, "Hey, this is one of the best shows going at the moment," and I was hoping someone that would come on here and pick that for one of their topics. So I'm glad you picked it and actually got to check it out. So it's making me want to go and watch it now.
Once again, as I say every month, I want to cancel Binge, but they drag me in with something else, and that's something. There's that, and then also Reservation Dogs, another Tiger show, just finished, and kind of finished. And I was like, oh, it's over. But that's another great show. So Binge is now that they've lost Seinfeld, but yeah, it's drawn me in for those 2 shows, which are great, two great shows. So yeah.
And yeah, we spoke about Reservation Dogs last time. Did it like finish on a good note, or did it kind of drop away at the end?
Oh, it was still great. Like, the whole thing was absolutely unbelievable. It's one of those shows that just finished, and you're like, oh, but there'll be more from it. But like, it wasn't like Mr. Corman, another show we spoke about that you like, oh, we'll check in a month. I have no idea why I watched that show. It's a very weird show. I don't recommend wasting your time watching it because it's not that good.
Okay.
I just kept watching it for the sake of it, and like, I
Hoping it would
resonated with him
improve.
in certain ways. Yeah, and resonate with it because he's a musician and he has like depression, anxiety. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can resonate in certain ways with that, but no, it just ended, and I was just like, even like I went to watch it on Friday because every Friday I watch Ted Lasso, and Mr. Corman, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to watch another episode of Mr. Corman, and it wasn't there on Apple TV, and I was like, sweet,
Yes.
we're done.
It
Woo!
must be finished. Yeah, that's not a good sign when you're excited that there's no new episodes.
Yeah, that was horrible. Like I just persevered with it because I just did, but no, not good at all. So yeah.
No, I am glad I dropped off after like 3 episodes then. Stopped wasting my time.
Really, really pissed off with Apple TV for a few reasons because the trailer for Mr. Corman looked like it would be like an amazing show. It was horrible. And then I was waiting to watch Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, which is the best comedy that's come out this year. Like, it's the most wonderful show ever. But you know how they have those like trailers before the show? They had this trailer for something, and it had like Ben Schwartz in it, who was in Parks and Rec. It had like all the Dave Franco in it, like all these like actors you know, and I'm like, oh, this thing looks so good. And it's another like murder mystery called The After Party, where they start and like, someone's dead, who killed the person? And you're like, oh yeah, cool. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, it'll be out in like November, hopefully, like with a great cast. And they're like, oh, it'll be out in January. And I'm like, why are you waiting 3 months for me to watch this show? Stop giving me blue balls. Like, I don't want to wait this long to watch this show. Like,
Yeah, like you're promoting
really
this a
pissed me
bit too
off.
far out.
Yeah, and you know with Apple TV you'll have to pay for it because you will, but it really annoyed me. I had to like stop before I started watching Ted Lasso and like go downstairs and have like a breather because I was like, I really want to watch this show and it's giving me blue balls. So
on that front of being
Yeah,
sort of
TV for another 3 months.
on that front of being annoyed with Apple TV, the thing that annoys me the most about it is their release schedule where they drop everything on a Friday. Like, why do we need to, like, we have all of these shows and we drop them all on a Friday night? It's like, can we not space these out over the course of a week and put like Ted Lasso on Friday? And like, I'm also watching the show C and the new sci-fi one Foundation. And like Foundation,
Is that the Alien show?
Yes, or the space one.
Yeah, my roommate watches it. I let him watch it in my room once a week. Like I don't watch it, but yeah, Friday's why? Like especially out during a week, like plus it's Friday. People do stuff on Fridays.
Like that Foundation show, their minimum hour episodes. C is about 40 minutes. Ted Lasso this week was about 45 minutes. It's like, it's 6 o'clock on a Friday. I'm not going to sit here and watch 3-4 hours of TV. Like, what are you doing? Let's space them out and put one on a Monday, one on a Wednesday, one on a Friday. Like, we're not a regular TV network. Like, we're a streaming service.
Yeah, usually I don't mind, but now because I'm starting DJing again, I'm like, I don't want this coming out on Friday. I've got to be at work. Like, I spent last Friday, I watched 3 hours of Squid Game because I could. I don't want to talk about that show. But yeah, I don't because I don't watch the show as soon as it comes out because, you know, being I'm addicted to my phone, I don't want to see spoilers. Like, I watched Ted Lasso yesterday morning and I already saw spoilers from it before I watched it within like the space of like 12 hours. Like,
yeah, I watched it yesterday morning as well. Like, I woke up and watched it, and it was one of those things where I was like, I'm just staying off social media Friday night because I don't want it to be spoiled because I know it's the final episode.
it's the funniest show. It's just so pure. Like some of the quotes and stuff he comes up with. In the last episode, he's like, I've got a rule. Babies, cats, and apologies. You let them come to you. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so true and so funny. And yeah, great. It's great. It's great. I just thought it was tacky when it first came out, but great show. Unbelievable show.
Oh, especially this second season where they actually sort of develop these characters more rather than just like that first season was all like upbeat and just positive. And then this season, you're sort of starting to see a bit of nuance and depth and sort of grey in the characters, which is really cool. And
You even got a whole episode dedicated to Beard, who's a great character, but he's always like, you don't know much about him, but he just had this whole night out and like being on the piss until like 6 a.m. then went to work at 8 a.m. and I was like, my man, reminds you of me.
yeah, he's kind of like in every other episode, he's just there for like little quips and stuff. But then for that episode, it was all about him. And I like now that it's finished, like looking back, you can see all the like hints and stuff to where they eventually got to, which is cool.
Apparently, there's only going to be 3 seasons. So my friend was telling me. So it's going to be like a mist in between where it's just perfectly wrapped up in 3 seasons. They knew what they were doing, and they just wrote it perfectly. So hopefully they win a trophy in the final season. That's all I want to say. Love them to see it.
Yeah, I'd say that's sort of where they're going. Like that first season, they were doing their best but fail. This season, they have a lot of difficulties but somehow succeed. And then that third season can be hey, we're all on the same page and we actually achieve something positive this time and get that trophy that they haven't.
What's the bet they beat West Ham in a final? Without saying anything, what's the bet they beat West Ham in a final?
Yep, that's
penalties.
100% on either penalties or probably like a community shield or something that won't
be Danny Rojas will score. Football is live. That's what's going to happen. Done. At end of season 3, they'll beat West Ham on penalties. Danny Rojas will score. Game over.
Yep. Yeah. Or it'll be like a Rojas goal off a Jamie Tart assist or something.
Oh. Jamie Tart, the actor, was actually on this show I like called Soccer AM in the UK, and all these people in the comments are like, on Facebook, like, who is this bloke? Like, why is he on this show? And I was like, it's Manchester City legend Jamie Tart. And people are like, what are you talking about? And I go, sorry, you don't know.
You just don't know. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
On that, you were talking about the murder mystery comedy thing. I watched a show sort of in a similar vein as well. on Disney Plus called Only Murders in the Building. Have you seen that one at all?
Yeah, I've seen it come up. Oh, is that the one with like the two old blokes and the hot chick, the young girl? What's her name? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
started watching that. I turned it off.
it's a murder mystery that's on Disney Plus, starring Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez.
Yep, yep, yep.
And it's a series that follows those three. They live in an apartment building in New York, and they're all obsessed with true crime podcasts. So then when somebody gets murdered in their building, logically, they're like, let's start a true crime podcast and investigate this ourselves. And then it's all about them like trying to find out who killed this person or what's the story behind this murder in their building. And their whole concept is we only cover murders in the building, no outside stuff. And it's just a really cool like who done it, but not in the sort of SVU really heavy drama way, more in the let's inject some comedy and silliness into this whilst also telling this story about a murder, which you don't sort of expect it to go that way.
It's worth watching. So I turned it off after 20 minutes because I couldn't get into it.
I actually enjoyed it. I think, yeah, you
Yeah.
probably do need to be sort of a true crime podcast person to sort of pick up on the like little touches and elements that they're obviously drawing from true crime podcasts where they tell you just enough about a certain person and focus on a single person, but then at the end reveal, okay, no, that wasn't that person. So there's all these sort of twists and turns, like a good true crime podcast where it's like, okay, I've got to tune in next week to find out what happened and how this all ties in together. So there's 10 episodes in total this season. We've got through 8 so far. And Disney Plus, very smartly, they don't release everything on the same day. This one comes out on a Tuesday, so it's like perfect. I love it.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
And they're easy short episodes too. I think they're at like 30, 35 minutes. So it's not like an hour heavy slog. It's just get in, get out, tell the parts of the story that we're trying to focus on and give us the jokes and stuff nice and quick fire. I'm keen to see where it goes in these final 2 episodes. A few guest appearances as well. Get Tina Fey again. Jimmy Fallon pops in one episode, and there's a whole episode dedicated to Sting because he lives in the building and they think he might be the murderer.
Oh, of course. Wonderful.
So that's a funny little episode. And they've already renewed it for a second season, so obviously it's not going to wrap up nice and cleanly at the end, so we'll see where it goes. And looking at the sort of trivia and stuff about it, it's already the most watched comedy premiere on Hulu, because it's streaming on Hulu in the US rather than Disney Plus like it is here. And it's the 6th time that Steve Martin and Martin Short have collaborated on something, which is interesting. Like
that makes sense actually. I've always pictured, when you have like picture like two like actors together, I always like picture them together. Yeah, that makes actually a lot of sense.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed that one a fair bit. And you had one other
go.
Oh yeah, I think if you watch maybe 2 episodes, and then if you're not into it after those 2 episodes, then drop out. But I was into it from the start because I do love like true crime podcast, especially the one that they sort of make a lot of take a lot from is I think Serial, that podcast, which is just huge.
Yeah, I've actually had 2 shows in the past couple of weeks I've started watching. I stopped within the episode. There was that one and Clickbait. I started watching Clickbait yesterday morning, and it was after I finished Squid Game on Friday night, and I was on the high of that and just wasn't living up to it. But a movie I've watched during the week, movies in the week, look at me, Just Do Nothing.
Yep.
Which is one of my favorite television shows. It's about these like guys in Brentford that have a pirate radio station, and they dress like lads. So obviously, I quite enjoy their fashion, and they released this movie, and they went to Japan for a record deal, and it's been like 5 or 6 years since the television show came out and finished, and the movie came out, and people were like, oh, it might not be that good because it's come out a while after, but they didn't skip a beat. It was so funny. They've released like a new album based on obviously because they're like pirate radio, rap, whatever. They've released like songs like Craig David. They've performed at the Brit Awards. I think they're just going to turn into this like great like stage show. But this movie, I had to do a naughty trick to get it because this was with Free Guy. I was waiting for a while to get it, and I just got a patient one Friday evening and just got it, and it was just absolutely hilarious. Like they go to Japan and they're trying to get a record deal over there, and their song was in this like Japanese game show, and like Japanese like, game shows like MXC and stuff, and just hilarious. But it really made me sad because I want to go back to Japan. It's such a wonderful country, but great movie. Like I was quite scared it wouldn't be good, but the perfect follow-up to the television show, and they need to do more stuff because they're literally on something right now, and they can just keep going. Mate. It's hilarious, and plus they're from Brentford, and Brentford are like 7th in the Premier League at the moment. So,
Brentford was in Ted Lasso this week too.
Yeah, that's a word. That's funny enough, they were
just taking over the world. Brentford Football Club everywhere.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, the comedy is it, and it's scary when a TV show decides, hey, we're gonna try and expand into a movie. Like that can fall on its face really quick. So it's good that did live up to your expectations, I guess.
I think the UK people make TV shows and movies. They're very good at transitioning from movies to TV shows to movies. Sorry, you look at Ali G, great television show. Ali G in the House, classic. Showed it to my roommate for the first time a few weeks ago, and he was just pissing himself the whole time. It's just the UK humour is just so good at that transitioning that you might have doubts, but I never had doubts because it's just they're just funny and it's great. Whereas like they're not chasing dollars like Americans and like trying to like juice everything out of it. It was a natural progression to it. The only American television show I can think of that did well going from a TV show to a movie is Entourage. That's a show about the industry, so of course it was going to do well. Run by Mark Wahlberg. So
yeah, like you said, I think that is sort of the key factor with those comedies or UK shows that go to a movie. They're doing it for a reason. It's not just, hey, we want to make more money and do a movie. It's we have this bigger form story that we want to tell that doesn't really fit into a TV show being split up into parts. It'd be better as one longer piece, so they do it that way as well. And you mentioned sort of Squid Game. What did you think of it? Like, I know it's sort of divisive.
I finished it in 3 days. I could have finished it earlier, but I had to watch Free Guy. I wanted to watch Free Guy, and I wanted to pace myself. It was incredible. I have no words. It was such a good show. But the thing that comes to my mind anytime I think of Squid Game, and then I think of Parasite, is the two of arguably the biggest TV shows and movies that's come out in the past few years. There's one thing in common with both of them. It talks about the cultural divide in Korea between the rich people and the poor people, and how much it is, and it just makes you wonder, how influential that divide is. But this show, I just watched it and I was like, straight away, I was like, this is incredible. I just can't. Wow. So good.
Yeah, I loved it as well, and I saw they've had to make some small little editing changes recently with the business card that gets handed out, because that wasn't the phone number on it is an actual Korean person's phone number. So he was getting 4,000 phone calls a day.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. I saw that because I only watched it on Tuesday because I didn't watch it on the weekend, on the weekends. But apparently they made some changes in the first scene, red light, green light, something. But I remember watching the red light, green light, and seeing the name in the show for the show, red light, green light. And then when they started playing it, I was like, oh, this reminds me of that game, red light, red light, green light, and then that's when it all clicked. It was all like kids games, and I was like, I just had this moment in my room, just being like, and you know, man, I'm a very loud person. I reckon I woke up the whole neighborhood, be like, oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, that was the moment where it hooked me too. Like up until that point, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. And then that game happens. I'm like, okay, you've got me now. But then they hit me with
Yeah.
episode 2, which I thought was the worst of the season.
I think it was very important because it went to show what it was like not in the Squid Game, without giving too much away. So like it was more for like the character development, and it also reminded me a lot of, you know, Breaking Bad. They had this episode where the two of them were in like a shed, like the bee episode where they're chasing like a bee around. It's where like
Yep.
they don't spend a lot of money on an episode. They can spend more money on other episodes, but it helps with like the character development. So I think that was a very important episode, not only for the characters but also for the budget of the show.
Oh yeah, like I understand why it was an important episode, but yeah, I just feel it would have been better placed a little bit later into the season, or
Yeah.
weaving those elements into the start of the episode 1. Because yeah, like I said, it's kind of like, oh, you've just got me hooked with this big key moment with the red light green light game, and then you hit me with this really slow episode all about like the characters and building their backstories up. I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of just wanted
Yeah.
to continue with the games and stuff. And yeah, like you said, it reminded me very much of shows like MXC and Takeshi's Castle and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. I noticed there's another show on Netflix that's apparently very similar called Alice in Wonderland or something like that.
Okay.
That's apparently sort of very similar. I think this one's like Japanese, where it's people in these crazy games. So I might check that one out at some point this week. And then lastly, pretty controversial topic at the moment, I think, with on the comedy front.
I know what you're about to talk about. I know exactly what you're about to talk about right now.
Dave Chappelle's latest comedy special, The Closer, arrived on Netflix last week. Have you checked it out?
I loved him when I was younger. I used to watch his show all the time. I'm going to steer clear of this. There's certain elements in this show that I don't agree with, and it's sad to see someone you've always looked up to and like enjoyed. But some of the jokes he makes is, I like taking the piss out of myself. I like taking the piss out of certain people, certain things. But some of the stuff he talks about is just a bit much for these. I have a few friends in that community, and it's like walking down the street with them and just seeing them get abused from random strangers in the street. I don't think you should enable the abuse of this community, because without saying it, I don't think you should enable the abuse of this community. And someone that is so influential, like J.K. Rowling, I personally, this is my opinion, and no one has to agree with it, but I just don't think you should really help fuel the fire, so to speak. Because
Yep.
yeah,
So in this one, he starts off responding to the criticism that he got for the previous 2 specials on Netflix. But he sort of, instead of like, obviously in the Dave Chappelle way, instead of backing down, he kind of just goes harder at it and makes it more sort of confrontational and combative and attacking, rather than like trying to explain like what he was going for. As Dave Chappelle does, it's all about racism, misogyny, and then sort of the trans community and transphobia and stuff like that. In it, he claims to be a TERF, which I was like, whoa, that's not going to go down very well. So there's been calls by a lot of people for Netflix to drop the special and get it off the service, but yeah, I don't see them doing that, because it's probably drawing in a lot of people as well. And like watching it, watching it at the time, you kind of like, oh, this is a bit rough. And at the end, you can sort of see the angle that he's trying to go for, and like he's trying to sort of say that, yeah, a lot of different people face prejudice, and we all need to sort of look at that and realize, hey, this isn't right. We need to lift everyone up. but the way he does it is kind of, yeah, as I said, combative and kind of pits the black community against the LGBT community, and it's just like we could have done this a better way. I think
With him, he knows if he says stuff, certain lines will get picked up by media outlets. Like even like googling Dave Chappelle right now, you see all these articles, and they don't talk about anything else besides that part of his show. So like if you're in the public eye, you know you can say things and it'll get picked up, and like he might have that message at the end, but they're not going to pick up on that because no one's going to get outraged and no one's going to clickbait on it. Like, yeah, it's pretty. I think he knows what he's doing and he's trying to get views from it, but he could have approached it in a better way if he actually cared. And that's my, without watching it, that's my views from what I've read.
yeah, like it's sort of very much in the Dave Chappelle way of trying to be controversial for the sake of being controversial as a character. So I think if we can separate the art from the artist, it might be a bit better. But yeah, just because he's done it multiple times, I think that's where people are finding it hard to make that separation. He does take shots at sort of everybody, but obviously the trans jokes are the ones that have sort of resonated the most with people. I think it's just him trying to be offensive for the sake of it. I don't think there's malice behind it, but that's hard to like know if you don't know the person on a personal level. Like, you just take it at face value. It seems pretty malicious. If you go into these specials knowing that that's what you're gonna get from him, I think that makes it a little bit easier to watch. You just need to go in knowing, hey, I'm probably going to laugh at moments. I'm going to cringe. There might even be moments where I'm doing both at the same time. But yeah, he said that he's not going to make any more LGBT jokes. Like in the special, he says this is the last time I'm going to talk about this community. So hopefully now he can sort of step away, take some time again, and come back with a whole new and refreshed range of material and see if we can get back to people enjoying his stuff without being put off by the topics at hand. But yeah, I enjoyed the comedy special, but yeah, there obviously were moments where I was like, oh, hang on, this isn't great.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for the week. But before we give our top recommendations, I want to just sort of point out that Promising Young Woman, the movie we watched earlier this year, but it came out last year. It's now on Amazon Prime for free, and it was one of my favorite movies of the last 12 months. So if you head back to episode 42 of the commentary booth, you can catch our full thoughts there, which was also with you, Jackson. I didn't realize that we spoke about it together, but yeah, that's out now. So I reckon people need to go and check that out and then go back and listen to our previous episode and sort of let us know what they thought on that one. And you mentioned Free Guy's your top recommendation for the week.
Yeah, if you're a movie Free Guy, yeah, can't go past it. Incredible.
It's a pretty solid recommendation if you're thinking about re-watching it already. And it's
There we are.
That's the one I'm picking as my favorite as well. Like, check that movie out. It's, yeah, like I said, it's on Disney Plus. It's included in your subscription, so you don't have to do the premiere access and pay extra for it. So definitely watch that one.
Oh, and that there's a new Marvel movie out now on Disney Plus. It's free as well. The one with Scarlett Johansson.
Yep, yeah, Black Widow has moved off
yeah.
premiere access, so it's freely available now. Like, Disney Plus Day was pretty big. There's some big stuff hit, so go and check those out.
Yeah.
All right, thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services, here on twitch.tv/JamieAppsMedia, and on YouTube. You can follow Jaxon on Instagram at Jax_Carr, and you can follow me on social media at JamieAppsMedia and at Pario Magazine. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/JamieAppsMedia. The following people supported at the Jam publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Blake Robinson, Courtney Paulson, Jaxon Carr, and Tracy